Welcome into another edition of Plus One. This is becoming our second home, Union Stage. We're here in Washington, D.C. with the one, the only, one of the best in the R&B game. I put him right there at the top. His name is Kenyon Dixon, coming from Los Angeles, California. How you doing?
What's happening, man? I'm good.
Appreciate you.
Good.
Appreciate you joining us today, man. It's good to hear you. Good to see you. This is the first time meeting you 4 years ago. When we were all stuck inside, we connected. Yeah, man, we connected and we talked a lot about just your journey then, because you had been laying the groundwork for a while then. But to fast forward 4 years, see you here at Union Stage, you got the tour popping. You got a lot of buzz in the R&B community. You've just been building your equity out there. So just walk us through, how has it been in the past 4 years, just kind of growing, continuing to work, and really just living and experiencing things.
Man, the journey, obviously, a lot of persistence, a lot of showcasing of persistence, I would say, and just a lot of pivoting, man. We're really tapping into just what's going on in real time, so I know like where to move. I stay tapped in with the fans, so that gives me even more intel because I get to see firsthand, what they're interested in, what they engage with, and that's something that I really love. And so, yeah, just been working on a lot of music, putting it out, seeing what sticks, and thankfully it's been sticking.
Yeah.
And it got us here to tour. So we're like midway through the tour. This tour has been very like celebratory, I think, for me and for like true fans of R&B. This has been like, I feel like my last tour was kind of an establishment of, it's kind of like a hook, like calling those who liked R&B. And this tour is more so a celebration of the R&B that we already know that we love. If you're here tonight, it's because you know you love R&B. You're not looking for somebody to convince you. And so that's what this whole tour has kind of been about. And so it's like a 180 from the last tour, you know what I mean? Where, earlier on you have like a lot more to prove, but now it feels like we're here because we want to be here and everybody knows why we're here and what we're doing, and that we'll continue doing it. So it feels good.
That's good, man. I was at the last tour, the Cincinnati stop, Nostalgia. Vibey spot. Yeah. Great performance, packed crowd. And I was in that moment and in that era, in that chapter of your career, I was banging the table. I'm like, why do people not know about this? But again, like you said, you have put in the work, you have been on tour, and you built a community of people that understand how much you love R&B, how much you study it, and what that means. So just how has it been to build that community, find your community in R&B, and stick to your lane and have it work for you?
It's all I know, because I built my whole career from the ground up. Like literally, like I was always the one. When I first started off, I was producing my own music. I always write 100% of my own music, but I was solely producing my music, mixing it, recording it. So I learned myself from the inception of me wanting to be an artist, just kind of how to do that. And so being myself is what has allowed me to continuously attract more like people. So I never pivoted and changed like where my heart was with the music I was creating. And I think that has worked in my favor because my fans, as they continue to grow, I notice that they are the same type of people. And so they connect with each other and they're proud to be able to support things that they actually love. And so, I think naturally it can get tricky sometimes. Just the comparison of being another artist is, artistry is a big thing. And so you just sometimes want to figure out, like, is there something more you can be doing to further things along quicker? But I've completely embraced and accepted my journey. So I know that the time that I'm on is God's timing. So I'm not trying to manipulate any of my results. I think that by doing what I feel led to do, that's connected to my purpose, that's what keeps me in this space. And that's why I get to see my fans grow and never leave, though, because I think people have moments. I don't think I'm like a momentary artist. I think that what I'm building is like a legacy, and I'm seeing the same people in every city, and they bring more people with them than they had with them last time. So I think that speaks volumes to just sticking to your guns and who you are and what you believe you should be making.
Yeah, the body of work is speaking for itself, and we believe in that. And just like you said, you don't need to be a moment. You don't need to have this viral clip. I mean, that helps, but again,
helps for sure. Yeah.
yeah, but a body of work is what's gonna last and outlive and be timeless music.
Yeah.
So for the R&B you love, for you to drop that really thorough project, love the skits, the interludes in there because it provides context. So the conversation really that we hear out here nowadays is like, oh, what do you know, what type of R&B is it? Toxic, you know?
Yeah.
But I really felt like you tapped into this era of this is what the love should feel like. We gotta get back to crying in the rain, having the boom box outside.
Sure.
So just walk me through the process of the conception and then the execution of the project.
Got you. So again, one of the biggest differences between the last project and this one was the intentionality behind making this for people who are positive that they love R&B music. And so one of my goals and my mission as an artist, as a modern R&B artist, has always been to show that feeling can still exist. Because I think, my whole brand is the R&B love. Mm-hmm. When I talk about the R&B love, it's literally a feeling that we miss. When we talk about 90s R&B and we talk about 2000s R&B, even 70s R&B, our R&B soul, I should say, it's always a feeling that we had that we can connect it to. And I think the disconnect for most listeners today is that they don't feel that way when they listen to music anymore. So I've been on a mission to show there's actually a space where modern music and the R&B that we already love can coexist, and that modern music can also become the R&B that we love. So with making this album, I'm always a student, but I went even deeper into being a student, and I started being hyper aware of when I'm listening, what am I feeling? Why do I feel like this? And so I would make records, and we orchestrated every single piece of the record to have a feeling. That's how we knew, like that was our metric. If it felt like something we felt before, then we knew we were in the ballpark. And so, just with the R&B love, another one of my goals, because we live in a very progressive world,
right,
especially as it pertains to technology, we get a lot of records and a lot of people, and they're great records. We get a lot of like remakes and remixes and things like that. And a lot of listeners don't know the derivatives of those records. And so I've been on a mission as well to introduce like my heroes and some of the R&B greats to my listeners, because some of them, the chances of talking to a teenager today and mentioning songs in the key of life, they wouldn't even know what you're talking about. They probably couldn't even name you a Stevie Wonder song, which to me is insane. And we've gotten so far away.
We gotta get back to the rest of it.
We've gotten so far away from what the music conversation should be. Mm-hmm. But I think when you realize you have someone's ear, I can talk about it, but if you listen to the music, I'd rather just introduce you to it in a place where you're already familiar. So there's no extra work. It's just now I'm able to say it. So for instance, like the interludes, we're able to mention, oh yeah, I like Roger and Zapp. I like Babyface, or like, you know what I mean? And that's a conversation that happens. And what has happened, 2000s R&B on that record is a perfect example of that. Put a bunch of nuggets in there from some of my favorite songs from the early 2000s and like even late 90s. And the references that I didn't put, what I started noticing online is fans would come, oh, was this supposed to be like How You Gonna Act Like That by Tyrese? Was this supposed to be like, and it's like, it can be whatever you want it to be. We're having a conversation now. That was my only goal. Mm-hmm. So it's the soul of that era in the R&B we love that were put into these records, and its only job, as with art, is to spark conversation. And so I think that let me know that the execution was done right, because now every time this album comes up, people are talking about songs that they heard before, and that, oh, this feels like, and we're able to have a conversation and show that you can still get that feeling today. So there's a moment in the show you guys will see later where I walk us through the feeling, and we end up in a modern moment that you can literally feel, hear, and see that there's a connection there.
Looking forward to it, man. That's a beautiful explanation. And you talked about being a student of the game, seeing you give flowers to Brian Michael Cox, who has delivered us countless anthems. I think about that Day 26 album a lot. But just having people like that, being around people like that, that you can continue to study from. Just what has that done for you in this chapter of your career and life?
It's amazing, man. I think, again, considering what my mission is, I'm now able to pull from a different part of like my bank of inspiration. And so, you know, again, talking about the R&B you love, it's all about nostalgia and familiarity already. I got to experience a lot of this stuff and learn it firsthand as like a teenager. Like I was barely 21, and by the time I was just within like that decade, really, I had toured with like Faith Evans and TGT, Tyrese, Genuine, Tank. Went on to work with like Jill Scott and like Carl Thomas, like all these people. And so to be here now and to talk about the R&B that I love, I think why I'm so connected to it is because it's actually a part of how I learned what I learned. These were people I got, like my heroes, that I actually got to stand on stage and see how they connected with these audiences. And so, yeah, that is kind of like what makes it important for me. Working with D Cox, like we worked on records before, you know what I mean? Like being able to see how these people that I admire craft these records and to be able to sit under them and ask questions about the records, like all of that, whether unintentionally or intentionally, plays a part in the music that I create.
When you talk about where you're going, this project right now, this is a celebratory time.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself? Maybe you haven't thought about it, maybe you have, but I kind of get what kind of guy you are. You think it's step by step. Where do you see the conversation going in your music?
I think I'm seeing in real time that I am building a real legacy. I think if I can be honest with myself, again, naturally you have these moments where, you know, these moments of comparison based on it being art and figuring out. Social media will do that as well. You open up your phone, you're seeing highlights and you're trying to figure out, okay, cool, should I have been doing this? Or like, you know, and again, based on my purpose, I'm able to run all of those thoughts through that metric and realize that I don't need to connect to it. But as it pertains to the conversation, does that mess up anything? I know that was really loud.
No, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Got you.
We're almost wrapping up.
Got you. So for myself, as it pertains to the conversation, what lets me know the direction I'm headed in is I started to see that a lot of my affirming doesn't come from my contemporaries. It comes from my heroes. To see people like Anita Baker talk about my music, to see people like Tyrese and Tank embrace what I'm doing, like that to me, these are the people that I'm studying. So that has given me a different idea of where the conversation is heading around Kenyon Dixon and around, you know, Kenyon Dixon and Manic, because I think that lets me know that if my goal is to build that legacy and have longevity, if the people that have it, that I'm studying and looking at, can recognize that, that has given me new purpose and inspiration. It lets me know that I'm on the right path. But it doesn't make it easy in a modern time of doing it necessarily, because, you know, you have to be really brave to go against the grain, especially in R&B music. I'm an R&B artist, which is already a genre that is highly slept on in today's music, and then I'm an independent R&B artist, which is a whole other fight, because there's, you know, you have to move differently. It takes a lot longer to execute stuff, and so my commitment to it, and again, to see the company that is affirming me, lets me know that I'm on the right path, and that 10 years from now, all these records that I'm making will lend to me having longevity in the business.
I think I said this, not him. He should have been up there doing a tribute to Usher on that stage, but for the next legend of R&B that they do a tribute
I'll be here.
For sure. You know, as we wrap up and you talk about R&B, who are some artists that you're looking at, and you talked about being slept on, that you feel like you would bang the table for their artistry, what they're doing in the game, or maybe somebody you worked with out there right now?
Most of my collaborators, honestly, like that's why we work together. That's
I like
what we
that.
have in common. So like Jay Nova, Kevin Ross, it's Alex Isley, Davion Ferris, Gwen Bunn. I even go like Tiana Major 9,
Nice.
Zay France. I have like, these are all like actual friends, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I think they're all incredible. And I think we speak about this like resurgence often of R&B. I don't like to acknowledge it as that because those are artists that I can pinpoint that never stopped doing it, you know what I mean? So I think it's cool as we want to speak about it in terms of mainstream, but I would never discredit the artists who have been 10 toes on making quality R&B music ever since they started making it. And I think that they deserve recognition for that. And I know I'm amongst that group of people, but myself aside, like literally part of the reason I'm able to stay motivated is because I have so many friends and collaborators who we have that in common. So yeah, I'll always go to bat for them, man. I think they're amazing. I would put them up against the world. So
We love to hear it, man. Well, we appreciate the time. Always good conversing with you.
always, man.
Kenyon Dixon, Union Stage. Make sure you check him out. The R&B You Love Tour. This is another edition of Plus One on Plus and Trust.